Now today in this video, I'm going to talk about something that's going on in the state of Oregon. There's a group called PEACE, People for the Elimination of Animal Cruelty Exemptions. So the one thing I need to mention right now, we already have laws in place that protect domesticated animals, farm animals, and also wildlife. But with their name, again, the elimination of exemptions, they want to go further and take away human rights that were given to you by God. It is a God-given right to raise animal, to produce food for people, and to hunt and to fish. And they want to eliminate that. Now, before I get started, I'm going to refrain myself from calling them names. So I will not call them idiots, morons, ignorant, stupid. I'm going to refrain from that. But one thing I will call them is hypocrites. And I will explain in this video why they are hypocrites. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to explain what they're doing, and I'm going to read from their website, word for word, what they want, and I'm going to explain it along the way, what it truly means, and then also a little more in depth on their website of people's concerns of how things have to change and what they respond with and what it really means. And also at the end, what is the future of Oregon? Let's get started. First off, if you can give the channel a like and subscribe, it helps out the channel, helps me out, and God bless you. What is happening in Oregon? Well, there's a group of people running around with a clipboard where you sign this little petition. Now, they need over 117,000 signatures for this to go into a vote, like a bill, in the November election in Oregon. They need 117,000 and they're over 90,000 right now, which is very scary. Now, if you run into one of these people, they're going to tell you, oh, we're the peace organization and we want to stop animal cruelty. And they're not going to go too far deep into it. Why? Because they're covering a dark secret that will ruin so many people's lives. So if you see them and they want you to sign this little petition that says IP28, tell them no. And if you want more information after this video, you can go on Google, just Google IP28 Oregon. Their websites will pop up and you can read for yourself the dumbest stuff that you've ever read. So you get to the website, it says IP28, it's time to end animal cruelty. Initiative Petition 28, IP28, formerly titled People for the Elimination of Animal Cruelty Exemptions, Peace Act. So if they say it's the Peace Act, again, tell them no, don't sign it. It is a proposed ballot initiative filed with the state of Oregon for November 2026 general election. If enacted, IP28 would extend the legal protections that keep our companion animals, which if they tell you companion animals, that makes you think dogs, cats, domesticated animals, to keep our companion animals safe to animals currently on farms, research labs, and in the wild, which would then protect those animals from slaughter, hunting, fishing, and experimentation. Now, when it comes to experimenting on animals, there's already tons of laws in place for that, okay? That's already been established. But now they want you to no longer hunt and fish. They want to take those rights away from you. That's exactly what they want to do. If this gets passed, you can no longer go fishing, even just for fun. You cannot do it. And you can't go hunting and provide for your family. If this passes, if you get caught hunting or fishing, that is considered a felony offense, which means you're going to jail. That's what it means. Crazy, huh? So if a deer runs in front of your truck or your car, and guess what? You hit it, that's felony. You're in trouble. So yeah, you're screwed. You run over a rabbit, it's felony. It's murder. You're screwed again. You see how dumb this is? It's pretty stupid. But let's keep going. This is just the brim of it. Animal abuse in Oregon is already defined as the intentional, knowing, and reckless injury of an animal. Yes, that is common practice really everywhere. IP28 doesn't change that definition. It simply changes who is protected under the definition. IP28 would also expand protections against animal sexual assault by classifying both the masturbation and impregnation of animals as sexual assault, even when done for agricultural purposes. What does that mean? So if you're a rancher and you have cattle and you need to have the next year, you need X amount of calves and you need to get some heifers pregnant and you need a bull to impregnate them, of course. Well, they want that to happen naturally. So you cannot say, okay, it's not happening naturally. I got to make it happen with these two, with this heifer and this bull. Let's say that the heifers ain't taking it. What do they have to do? Well, when it comes to the masturbation part, they have to extract the semen from the bull and artificially inseminate the heifers to get them pregnant. That would be illegal and a felony offense because it is sexual assault. So you cannot do that. And let's dive a little bit more into the animal cruelty part of it. Now, if you run a ranch, you can no longer herd them up, tell them what to do. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't take them from one pasture to another pasture you have, which is, let's say, a mile down the road. No, they have to willingly leave the gate and go all the way over there by themselves. Also, what else is considered sexual assault? Milking cows, because the teat on a cow is genitalia in a way. So, you know, it's a private part. So milking cows, out the door. That is sexual assault because you're grabbing a knocker. That's, in layman's terms, that's truly what's happening. So, can't do that. So what happens to the farmer? You're probably not gonna have a ranch anymore. And if you have a farm where you're milking cows, probably not gonna have that farm anymore either. But they do have a solution for all that, and I will explain that in just a little bit. Then they go on to say, we believe it is possible to meet all of our needs as human beings while simultaneously meeting the needs of the animals we inhabit this state with. Using the killing of animals as a strategy to meet our needs is a choice, and our campaign wants to propose making a different one. So they're saying hunting and fishing and raising cattle is a choice. They want to take your choice away. They want to tell you what to do and how to live. That's what this organization wants. They don't care about human rights. I don't think they care about animal rights. I think they just care about their agenda. Then they go on to say, whether that looks like greater investment in plant agriculture, I'm guessing soy, they like soy, utilizing non-lethal wildlife management practices, which I'll talk about in a minute. Non-lethal, right there. I will talk about that because I do mention what that means. Or implementing non-animal methods for research. There's laws in place already for the research, already in place. Many alternative strategies already exist to choose from. So what they want to do is take away your choice and you have to use one of their choices. They're taking away your freedom. They want you to do what they want you to do. They want to take your choice of how you live away, and they want you to live how they live by their choice, not yours. Then they ended off with, before it gets to the ballot, we need to collect 117,173 signatures from registered voters in the state of Oregon. And then says how you want to help. I'm not going to mention that. Now, let's go ahead and read some concerns people have had with them and see their responses. Now, there's a ton of them. I'm just going to cover a few of them. Again, you can find it online. Just Google IP28 Oregon and their websites will pop up because there's more into it. And the hypocrisy is nuts. So I'm going to start out with this concern that some people had, and here's their answer. The question is, would IP28 make hunting, fishing, and trapping illegal? If passed, IP28 would remove the exemption for hunting, fishing, and trapping from our cruelty laws, which means hunting and fishing and trapping would be gone. It would be illegal and it would be a felony, meaning that any practice that involves the intentional injury of an animal would be criminalized. like I just said. Although the practice of seeking, pursuing, and in some cases even capturing an animal would still be legally protected. What does that mean? Well, they don't want little bitty rabbits and groundhogs and everything else to get into their food supply, their vegetable garden, or anything like that, or rodents in their house, so you can live trap them. What's a live trap? It's a cage, you bait, they go in. They want you to live trap it and put it somewhere else away from them so it could be somebody else's problem. The practice of killing animals would no longer be protected. So, again, hunting, fishing, raising animals for food, like you couldn't even have chickens in your backyard that you slaughter and feed to your family. You couldn't do that. And also, how far is this sexual assault thing gonna go? Like, can you have chickens to lay eggs? Can you collect them? Is that sexual assault? Many of those who are following the campaign are concerned about meeting the needs that they currently try to meet by hunting, fishing, and trapping. No kidding, really? Those needs have included a need for food, a need for conservation, a need for recreation, and many others. Yeah, that's why the Conservation Department, Fish and Wildlife, has been established for years to protect animals and to make sure that they don't die off from disease and that they're legally hunted and that the numbers stay at a good level. If you have too many deer, newsflash if you didn't know this, too many deer in a herd, one gets sick, it kills them all. That's why conservation is important, and that's why Fish and Game do their job. We want to help show how all of those needs can still be met while also meeting the needs of animals to be free from unnecessary human-caused suffering. Within the state of Oregon, we have ample food, as well as the resources needed to distribute that food to every citizen. Okay, they're talking about fruits, vegetables, and it's Idaho, they're talking about potatoes. So they want everybody to be a vegetarian. That's what they want. Or they want you to be at the mercy of the grocery stores. Because, again, you can't slaughter animals, so the butcher shops, the local butcher shops and everything, they're gone. So if you get meat, you have to buy the stuff that comes from out of state, from a big factory that's probably full of a bunch of garbage that you shouldn't be eating. So they're controlling your diet now. That's what they want to do. Yeah. Crazy. And also, where are they going to get all this food? Who is doing this for them? Are they going to pay for it? You really think they're going to pay for it to do that? Seriously, this is so stupid. When you think about it, there's a farmer out there who's owned a ranch. It's been passed down for about 100 years through his family, who controls his own life and his own destiny by the grace of God and doesn't depend on the government to give him anything. Now, what they want to do is have these people depend on their organization to feed them. They want to control the citizens and how they eat, what they eat, and how just everything. Dude, it's just craziness. It's nuts. Your freedom is gone to live how you want to live. If this passes, this is just bonkers. Again, where are they gonna get the food? Do they all have farms out there raising carrots and beans and potatoes? No. And they honestly think that you can just throw something in the ground and it grows. Well, you need fertilizer. Where does that come from? I don't know. A lot of it comes from, cows. Now let me continue with this lunacy. There are also a multitude of humane and creative methods for conserving our environment, and in the state as wonderful as Oregon, there are countless activities we can engage in for recreation that do not invoke taking the life of an animal. It is possible that everyone can get their needs met. So, how about you name these recreational things there, buddy? I didn't see it anywhere on here. List them. Tell me what it is. Guaranteed you're not gonna let anybody go on a river or on a lake, on a boat, because fish live in there. You're not gonna let anybody go camping in the woods. Why? Because deer live in there. Probably can't even build a treehouse in your backyard because squirrels live in there. Now here's the big one. Here's for the ranchers out there and the people who raise animals to feed their families and to sell them, to feed other families, and to keep their ranch going and their livelihood. Now this is where the dumbassery spikes. on the scale. It's so dumb. Since IP28 would prohibit killing animals, including bovines, that means cows, a rancher would likely no longer have a reason to raise cattle. That said, IP28 does not prohibit a rancher from strictly raising and caring for bovines or any other animal. Oh my gosh, God gave these animals a purpose to feed us. It's in the Bible, dude. And I don't know where they're at with their faith, if they believe or not. I don't know if they're running around the woods, hugging trees and, talking to fairies and stuff. And I'm not gonna call out vegans because I know some vegans. They're actually really cool and they understand the truth about conservation versus these other folks who just don't get it. It would, however, require that a rancher does not abuse, neglect, or sexually assault the animal under their care, meaning that the animal could not be killed or forcibly impregnated. Again, you cannot make your herd reproduce. You cannot herd them up. You cannot push them along into a different pen. You can't do any of it. You can't even put them into a trailer forcibly. You cannot do that. That would be illegal and a criminal offense. It's pretty dumb, ain't it? Here's where it gets really stupid. We would encourage ranchers to transition to an alternative agriculture practice, which could be supported by the Humane Transition Fund that IP28 establishes. Okay, where are you getting your money? I want to know. Oh, probably, yeah, I've already looked that up actually, like PETA and a bunch of other, people who just have no common sense, invest in, yeah. If a rancher would prefer to continue caring for animals, there is also a possibility that they could help operate an animal sanctuary. So basically what they want you to do, raise animals till they die and get paid by their fund. And I'm gonna get into that too in a minute, how actual stupid that is too. At the sanctuary, they could still care for animals while also letting the animals live out their natural lives. So what you'll have is a lot of wasted animals because they'll die of old age, and then you're gonna have an animal graveyard. Instead of the animal going to use to feed families and feed people and to help people out, what you're doing is taking away human rights, making people go hungry unless they really like potatoes and carrots, and just having a ton of dead animals laying around, which you're gonna have to, make a graveyard for, because throwing them all in a big old ditch and covering with dirt that's a no-no. So now you're gonna have to buy some land to make a graveyard for each individual animal. Lunacy. So with that part being said, if you're a rancher, vote no. If this goes in to November's election in Oregon, the IP28, vote no. And if you see them asking for signatures again, walk past them and don't talk to them. Let's go with this last one. Now there's a bunch of them on the website. You can go read them for yourself and how crazy they are. How will IP28 support farmers through this transition? In order to help support the transition to alternatives that do not rely on injuring and killing animals, which means they want you to either have a sanctuary for animals or grow potatoes. The IP28 also establishes a Humane Transition Fund to provide grants helping with food assistance, replacement of lost income, job retraining, and aid in conservation and rewilding efforts. They want you to rely on them for your family to get fed and for your ranch to get going. And it is a fund. It is a grant. You have to apply for this grant. So what does that mean? They want you to rely on them. They want the power. They want to control you. So you have to apply for a grant, which means you can be denied. What they're going to ask you to do is turn your ranch into either a potato farm, or what they're going to ask you to do is make it an animal sanctuary, or something else they want. That's what they want. They want to control your ranch. So let's keep going. It gets worse. The Humane Transition Fund will be administered by council consisting of the Oregon Department of Agriculture, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, Office of Tribal Affairs, Oregon Department of Human Services, among other community members who would be impacted by IP28 if it was put into practice. They'd have a council of people, and I'm guessing these people probably wouldn't be, I don't know, against IP28. I think they would be all for it. So in the long run, you're screwed unless you do what they want you to do. Now, let me explain what would be the future of Oregon if this goes into effect. So what I'm going to say, this is just my thoughts, what would happen to Oregon if this passes. First off, any butcher shops, family owned, or it's on a grocery store, shut down. That's gone. So, unemployed people. Also, since there is no hunting and fishing, any fish and game store, let's say you have a Bass Pro in that state, or you have a Cabela's, or whatever you have, or a Shields, they'll probably move out because there is no need for those stores anymore. More unemployment, and also hurts the economy. Same with that butcher shop. Also, what will happen to the employees of the Oregon Fish and Game Department? Well, they're not getting the support by selling fishing licenses, hunting licenses, things like that. So they're making less money into their department. So there's going to be people either let go or they're going to have to send them to a different state for work. So their families are going to be uprooted and sent somewhere else. Now let's talk about grocery stores and restaurants. Now, meat has to be sent in from somewhere else. What's going to happen with that? You go to the grocery store and there's meat there. Instead of paying like $2 a pound for a steak, you can go up to like $7, $8, $10, $20 a pound. So that's going to be through the roof because there is no beef, pork, chickens that are naturally raised in Oregon and produced there and sent to these grocery stores. So the price of meat is going to go through the roof. Then there's restaurants. Imagine if you're paying that much for meat at a grocery store because it's hauled in from out of state. Imagine how much you're going to pay for a steak or even a burger at a restaurant in the state of Oregon. Also, ranch hands will either quit or be fired. Why? Because I'm telling you right now, if you want to raise a garden or run an animal sanctuary, you're not going to get as paid as much as you were rustling cattle. So, more unemployment right there. Now, if you cannot hunt, you cannot fish, guess what? That state will be just run rampant with predators. Wolves, bears, coyotes, mountain lions, bobcats, you name it. This opens up a buffet of food for those predators. And here's the crazy thing. You cannot shoot them. You can't protect your ranch. You cannot protect your farm, period. Because you can use self-defense, but you're not the cow that a bear is going to attack. Let's say a bear attacks a cow. The cow has to use self-defense. You cannot just shoot that bear. You can't do that because that would be illegal and a felony offense. So you basically have to watch these predators kill these animals and eat them. I don't think they actually thought about that because these people think with their emotions rather than common sense. That laws are already in place to protect animals. Farmers and ranchers and hunters protect more animals than people out there who use their emotions and say, nobody should shoot them, nobody should hunt them. We want to make sure that the numbers are up to a great level so they don't die off of disease, and also keep the predator level down so they can live a long life. The ones who do not get hunted, they can have a long life. And that's why Fish and Game is so important to the ecosystem, and they do an amazing job. The Peace Group needs to step out of it. I'm going to talk about how they are hypocrites. Well, it's very, very simple. Their vehicles, their house, their cell phone, anything they have, their clothes affects nature, because everything you wear, everything you use, everything that you have comes from nature, which displaces animals. Let's say they buy all their vegetables and stuff from a farm or whatever that says, well, we don't hurt animals on our farm. They are lying to you because Guess what? The reason why these places make fruits and vegetables, grow them, they have to make sure what they're selling so they can make money doesn't eat their profits. So what I'm saying is they have to make sure that wild animals stay out of their crops. What do? Well, there's only so much you can do, because if there's food there, the animal's gonna get to it no matter what, whatever fence you put up, whatever deterrent. They have to eradicate the issue so their farm, their vegetable farm, can make money. So with you buying those products and supporting them, you are causing that eradication of rabbits, deer, and finally, what is the one thing they don't mention in this act? They talk about all these wild animals that they're gonna protect and make sure they don't get hunted. They don't talk about insects. Insects are very important, but they can be pesky to them. And honeybees are very vital to the ecosystem. Pollination is very important to the ecosystem. You can mess with bees, all that stuff. They are protected, but myself, who knows conservation, understands the importance of bees and why you shouldn't mess with honeybees. Let them do their job. Now watch the video of their leader guy. He looks like the lead singer of the 90s band New Radicals. You can literally just see through him. There's nothing between the ears there. And I'm gonna do a video on that because he's literally looking away from the camera whenever he's talking, and I think people are on the other side telling him what to say. And in that video, he does say, it's just a minor change. No, it's a catastrophic change that will change everybody's life. It will ruin the economy. It will ruin people's lives. It will ruin farms and ranches, and gives this group that has the craziest just thought of how to control people and how things should be run power. And it's nuts. Again, if you're walking around in Oregon, anywhere, and somebody comes up and says, hey, can you sign my ballot? We are the Peace Act because we just do not like animal cruelty. They are not telling you the entire truth. Walk away from them. They want to get rid of hunters and fishermen, outdoorsmen, gone, and they want to control ranches. That's what they want to do. They want you to do what they do, period. In November, if it comes on the ballot, vote no. So until next time, God bless you. Have a great day.